Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. This week we're going to figure out what the fuck happened to Dorkside Toys. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the NEC Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the procrastinator of pre-orders, my YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_Games. But that's not all. I am also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over, the man Optimus Prime popped and he refuses to stop, the Twilight Knight, the master of Mac, the three-pump chump of taking this show off the rails, Nate. How you guys doing this week?
Oh,
Hello. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Very calm
very,
today.
very nice.
Yeah.
Hi.
It's just still kind of weird from last episode that I moved the microphone closer, and I also have my headphones plugged in directly to the microphone, so I can hear my voice, and it's both annoying and arousing at the same time.
Welcome
I just
to our
want to
world.
put that out there on the table,
Yeah.
just so if you guys are uncomfortable, I just want you to know that it's not intended that way. But yeah.
I don't think anyone was uncomfortable until now.
Yeah. Okay.
I see. Yeah, now
well,
that you acknowledged it, and
I
now
couldn't
everyone
tell.
knows
Yeah.
what's going on below the lower third of the screen, I think now it's awkward. But prior,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like an unspoken rule of like we don't talk about Jamar's sexy, annoying voice. Like,
Mhm.
That is a good way to describe it. Both annoying as hell
Mhm.
and sexy, at least to me.
And not just because you're my naggy YouTube wife who
No, it's just typically annoying.
who joins the
It's-
chat and instantly starts
I don't-
gets on my case.
I don't find it annoying at all.
You
It's
just
all
haven't heard
sexy
enough.
for
You
me.
just haven't argued
That's-
with him enough. Trust me.
Well, okay, you're right.
If that's a prerequisite, then
I guess
geez.
if we start talking about NFTs or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Once you've argued with him enough, you're just like, I don't want to hear your voice anymore. I don't care what kind of weird, uncomfortable erections I get. It's not worth it. So anyway, Dorkside Toys. They have had a rough couple months, and it has come to an abrupt end. So let's start with just like a rough timeline. I spent today going through and figuring out what has happened and trying to piece it together based off things on Reddit and forums and things that other people have like allegedly brought to light. So first and foremost, just because I know we're gonna get someone in the comments going, "Oh, you guys are suddenly expert journalists" or something like that, like we always do.
Oh.
We are just idiots speculating and taking and reiterating the information that's fully available to you on the internet. You're welcome.
That's very true. I mean,
Um,
I did go to journalism school.
Yeah.
No one knows if that's true or not. So.
Yeah. Google it and find out. So a couple months ago, people noticed that I think this was in November, they stopped taking pre-orders. Like no new product that was being announced was going up on their website. So it kind of like raised some flags, like, oh, what's going on? Usually they're on top of it, because for the longest time they've been a mostly reputable source. Like a lot of the big like names, like Robo from the Fwoosh, and even like Cincy Nerd and friend of the show Dave Wonder, all would like casually like order stuff from them, never have any issues. There's been like like every website, you'll have some stragglers here or there where some things happen that are unfortunate and cause problems. But for the most part, they've been a pretty reputable website to order from. I ordered my Action Force figures from them. Had no issues. But yeah, so they suddenly stopped taking pre-orders. People were wondering. And then at the end of November, a former employee posted this to Reddit. It says, "Full disclosure, I used to work there. Ordering anything from Dorkside right now is playing with fire. Maybe it ships, maybe the FBI seizes it, or seizes the warehouse first. Maybe a few remaining employees that are left stop showing up. If you have store credit, use it now. If you have an outstanding pre-order, cancel it with your bank or credit card. Your pre-order ain't coming. Don't even waste your time emailing Dorkside. Can't issue refunds because they have a massive amount of debt and locked out of their accounts. Dorkside used to be a good business and fun place to work. It stopped being all that a while ago. Greed and incompetence took over. there was a coup in the management ranks. Outside infiltrators gained influence, and Eddie, the owner, thought he could run things without his longtime partner. Spoilers, he couldn't. What's happening right now is karma. The story will come out sooner or later, but it's not my story to tell, even though they're kind of telling it. I make this post to stop people from being ripped off as Dorkside continues to operate as the ship goes down. It may look like business as usual right now, but sooner rather than later, there will be a tipping point and no more orders will go out. P.S. Oh yeah, we totally got the major blood that broke the action figure internet from Dorkside. Hasbro shipped a rogue case. They sold them to employees and friends. That's all, folks. Hashtag RIP Dorkside. So a lot to unpack there. After that, they kept their Black Friday sale going for a couple weeks past Black Friday, which people thought was a little weird. And then finally last week, ironically, I believe it was the day we were recording our episode about canceling our pre-orders with Big Bad Toy Store, they officially put a banner up going out of business. All sales final, put up a bunch of banners and stuff going out of business sale. But a new update that actually just kind of happened either like in the last day or so, there's no longer any product on the website. So like when they put the going out of business sale up, I went and there were still things you could click on. It would tell you it was sold out. There's literally zero product on that website. And some people on Reddit are speculating that allegedly something happened. They were forced to legally stop selling product because there's also people who got shipping notifications for some of their and heavily discounted stuff where the label is created and it's been several days and it hasn't moved. Like it hasn't even been dropped off or accepted. So let's kind of unpack all this. So I guess the biggest thing is a lot of people are taking this different ways. Some people are looking at it as a business owner who just got greedy and now is trying to screw people. Other people are looking at it as, finally things just kind of caught up with him and it's kind of all just falling apart. So it's kind of ruining his entire life in the process. So he's not really gaining anything from it because all of the right now, allegedly they can't refund people. Some people are getting refunds, some aren't for pre-orders for if you paid through PayPal. Because like Big Bad, if you paid with a credit card, they didn't charge you till you shipped. However, if you paid with PayPal, it's instant. So, and a lot of pre-orders are a year out, so you can't even go to PayPal and argue that anymore for the most part. Usually PayPal will be like, sorry, you had 6 months. Yeah. You should have done it sooner.
Which, real quick, I just want to add, I don't know if you saw this, but in my quick, analysis of the situation, I came across a post that people were essentially complaining that they couldn't give refunds even if they wanted to because they didn't have access to their PayPal account.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't, not like the customer, but
Dorkside doesn't have access to their PayPal account. The person's post claimed that all of their actual accounts are locked and they can't get into them, like their bank accounts and stuff. So I guess just from that, before we unpack it too much, what's kind of your stance on it? Do you see this as, shady practices and they're trying to screw people, or do you see this as the business is crumbling and it's unfortunate, but everyone's getting screwed in this situation?
I'll say I'm mostly an optimist in this certain situation. Not so much I believe that corporate greed sometimes doesn't just take down everything, but it's kind of sounds sad because it's not a situation where they just disappeared overnight. They're kind of dying a slow death, or not so much now, but yeah. But it is also sucks just kind of as Toy Collected in a whole, because that's one less option that you have. So it's, even if he did fuck up or he was doing shady shit, it still kind of just takes down one other place you can go to buy things online. And who's to say somebody might come up and replace it, but I don't see that happening in this industry at where we're at right now. But yeah, I definitely don't think they're trying to screw people over. It sounds like they're in shambles, and they're trying to like be greedy now, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
to try and like keep as much as they can. But some of these things don't even seem like it's up to them. They're like, you know, in it deep, which is funny because it's kind of a lot like what we assumed Loot Crate was dealing with.
Yeah.
Which they may. We still don't know. But what do you think, Nate?
I have to go with option 2. I just don't think that anyone would really intentionally that has previously or was currently running a business would purposely be like, oh, I want to screw people, because I don't see the long-term advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, though, hearing that letter from Reddit, I had read it before, haha. But hearing it read to me, a couple of things stood out more from even when I say it. And then, because they even say in there that this person got greedy, but basically kicked out their partner and thought they could do it all on their own. So the intention was to keep the business going, not to screw people, but then got caught up in the situation and really, maybe they were the ideas guy, or maybe they were the money guy and not the idea guy, and they got rid of the idea guy and he got caught up because, he fucked up. That's what it sounds like to me, because I don't think anybody intentionally is like, oh, I want to go out of business, or I want to screw over a bunch of people and tarnish my name. That sounds awesome. So, that conspiracy of this guy, being malicious, I think is false. I think he got caught up. I think he's in trouble. And is he doing some potentially unjust practices now? Absolutely. That could possibly be a situation. So maybe it's a little bit of a mixture. I just don't think that was the original intention. So
I agree. I feel like, yeah, if what's in that post is true, and got greedy, kicked their partner out in favor of some people who got in their ear, that part is shitty, which does make this kind of a little bit of karma, as people are saying. But I don't think at any point it would make sense to be like, I'm going to run my business in the ground and I'm going to screw people over. Like, they are not doing enough business in pre-orders to live off of for the next 20 plus years on some beach in Costa Rica. Like, I think people
toy collectors love to think that this hobby is the most lucrative business that you can get into, whether it be from the manufacturer's side. I'm sorry to break it to you, but Hasbro is making money from their fucking board games and shit more than they are the shit they sell to us. Okay, Mattel lives off Barbie and now the return of Monster High more than they do He-Man or Jurassic Park. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to break that to you.
But now,
so being in the mail order, right? This is true. Absolutely, 100%. But I mean, like, and I'm not just saying this because I want him to come on, to Toy Therapy or something like that. But if you've watched any of Nerdzoic's videos, because he runs a business, he turned his YouTube channel into a online business as well, selling toys. And if you've seen any of his videos where he talks about that, there is so little margin to be made in this business. So in a situation with Dorkside, who is mainly selling, because I've ordered from them, but mainly selling Star Wars, Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe. So, mostly Hasbro properties. They weren't doing bumps of blow in the office, high-fiving with hookers and stuff. Like, that is not what was happening there. It was probably 6 guys in somebody's garage, and like an extra pole building.
So I will say this: they at least have, because
they had a retail location.
No, they have it. It's still open.
Oh, it is.
As of a few days ago, someone had gone there because they didn't know it existed, and they found out it was right an hour away from them. They drove there and went. It's still fully functional. It essentially is acting like nothing's happening. Like, they don't have any going out of business signs. Nothing's discounted. It's
that
running
might be
normal.
separate businesses though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's being kept separate, which then tells me they probably had a warehouse to keep separate for everything else.
They probably absolutely had a warehouse.
Mhm.
That was more of an
Yeah, I
exaggeration.
just wanted to,
just-
yeah, I knew what you were doing. I just wanted to make sure to like specify, because that way they didn't come at us in the comments, but like they probably had something a little bigger than a garage.
Yeah, if
but
you've never seen this before, I tend to either exaggerate or make a joke of
Yes.
everything. Because life sucks.
It does.
Is that a joke? I can't tell.
Well, I think that's our thumbnail, though. Just the disapproval dad look. But yeah, I can't imagine. There's no world where it's economically safe to be like, I'm going to take this $6,000 in pre-orders and turn it into my life savings. Like,
unless you're involved in crypto and maybe run a past successful crypto business. You then... But I don't know if I would want to get brought up on fraud charges and, all that kind of stuff. So I'm willing to think it's a little different.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's probably a situation where part of that post is accurate, where someone got in their ear and they're like, oh yeah, I could be doing so much better if I didn't have this dead weight. And they pushed their partner out, and then that partner was very vital to the day-to-day, and they got in over their head, and it just kind of caught up to them. Because it doesn't seem like a situation where they... suddenly stopped doing business. It was just they aren't ordering product, which then tells me they ran out of money, which means that the money that they used for those pre-orders was already gone because they had to use them to order product, and they just didn't have any more. Not so much anything else, which also means, because like a lot of these businesses don't operate off of like a savings account. They have lines of credit that they use to order it, and they have to pay that back usually before they can order more. So if they can't pay that back, then that means that they still owe that money on top of the fact that they, owe you money. They don't have just a large pile of cash in the back.
Yeah. So I used to actually work in finance at one point. And I used to work within business banking. And one of the top reasons that someone would go out of business wasn't because that they weren't making money. It was cash flow. Mm-hmm. Once the cash flow stops, you're crippled, and you can only borrow so much before it just crumbles. And so I'm just adding on in agreement of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we do have an expert on the panel.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, well,
we're moving up in the world, people.
I'm no longer in finance.
Yeah.
I'm in beer, so things are different.
A little bit different.
But I want to make sure that this isn't like how some people say they're an accountant on Instagram, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. No, I actually worked for a reputable financial company at one point for 8 years.
Just wanted to be sure.
So, yeah.
So I guess
that I no longer work at.
Fair. So I guess the thing I now want to pivot to, because we've addressed what happened, we've given a timeline, we've given our opinion on if we think it was malicious intent or if it was just a series of unfortunate events that unraveled due to poor choices. So I guess the next question is, what do you think caused this? Because we joked last week, because it happened right as we were recording our episode, and I made the joke of like next week's episode's gonna be titled "Hasbro Killed Dorkside," to just get as clickbaity as possible. But then as I was reading, I was like, I don't know if I can pull that off. I don't know if I could pivot this to Hasbro hate.
It's always Hasbro
I still
hate.
want to, just to see if I can do it, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Well, listen though, I don't want to do a pile on, but we were just talking about credit and cash flow and things like that, and look at all of the influx of Hasbro product over the last several weeks. Okay, catch our OnlyFigs now in a replay of whatever the same time I'm wearing this shirt, because I just got fucking dumped on with stuff that wasn't supposed to come out until 3 months or 4 months next year.
That's a good point, because Nerdzoic actually talked about that on one of his YouTube videos, where he discussed that while it's great for the consumer because they get that sense of like quick satisfaction, it screws over the small businesses because they budget out based on those ordering, because they don't always get charged up front. So Hasbro being like, hey, we know this isn't supposed to come out till April, it's actually now coming out 6 months early, get fucked. So
Yeah.
you know what, Nate, you saved it. I'm still gonna call it Hasbro killed Dorkside. So yeah, that does feel like that probably is a decent part of it, is the raising of the costs across the board. Every toy company is doing it right now. Hasbro's the biggest offender, but as we mentioned in a previous video, which I will link at the end of the episode if I remember,
Right here.
Hasbro versus
right
everyone
here.
else. Yeah, it'll be at the end.
Click
Yeah,
right
right there
here.
at the end of the video.
Right there.
Apparently.
But yeah, so with the raising like hikes in prices and everything like that, and then the fact that they're just dumping product randomly instead of it sticking to at least somewhat of a release date, because at least back in the day when it was delays, that was almost like a reprieve in some cases, because a lot of these companies get all of their product at the same time. Like right now we're in that end of the year stretch where everyone's trying to beat Chinese New Year, so from like November to January they're just cramming toys down your throat, and you're just like, but it's Christmas time, I'm supposed to be buying for other people. Like, we don't care.
Exactly.
So it really could be a situation where, you know, on top of the fact that they got rid of someone who was vital to the company, it just getting stuff so much faster than they expected threw that off even more. And when that stuff didn't sell because less people are buying a lot of the Hasbro products now, as Hasbro has pointed out with their loss of profit, well, not loss of profit, less profit than expected.
And I think it's about to double again, because I'm out in a lot of stores, and I notice things. And one of the things that I'm shocked by is the absolute jamming of Black Series on pegs. Black Series used to not sit. They'd get a couple of cases and they would sell instantly because it would move. Granted, they didn't. I'm not trying to say like it's like this greatest selling line. I'm just saying the cases that they got,
it was scarce, and collectors would be there like fighting over them. Essentially, it'd be whoever got there first.
Now they're packed, and it's not just Lando. It's the whole last wave. It's Inquisitors. It's Darth Vader. And that's because of the price. And Target right now is and this is off topic, but Target is lined with their exclusives that they're trying to sell for $28. A third Obi-Wan from the show. Some guy in a mustache. Oh, that's a Walmart exclusive. Excuse me. Some other random guy from Andor. Andor's great, but it's not the most
toyetic.
Yes, exactly. But I'm just saying, we're seeing that backlog already. You know, Marvel Legends not moving like they should be. So back to you, Michael.
But yeah, and the worst part, it's the holiday season. So these shelves right now should be barren. A week before Christmas, to have this much product on your shelves is not a good sign. And it's not just Star Wars. Marvel Legends used to be the same way. And more I'm seeing waves sit there. And it's not just because Walmart got them 6 months late and everyone paid eBay prices for a change. So it's across the board. It's even affecting small businesses. Like my work, I expected there to be a lot more empty holes during Christmas time, and there's not. So it's a mix of people don't have as much money because of the economy. The prices are up and they're not happy. Some people just straight up left the hobby or went to a different line. So realistically, that could probably definitely contribute to their problems, because if they, you know, ordered all this product and people either canceled their pre-orders, or after like the fiasco where Hasbro announced they're raising prices and going plasticless packaging and all of that.
Oh, we didn't even bring up that. I mean, yes.
So like that suddenly now you go from expecting to have all this cash flow come in because you have all these orders that get fulfilled and then have a little bit extra that will probably sell quickly, to now suddenly you have cases of them that no one's buying. And even that, not even all the waves right now have been real winners to begin with, because they're getting to a point where they're trying to pick some random characters to really try to flesh out lines, which is great, but it's not as widespread.
I will say, like, the last wave of Star Wars Black Series should have been good, because it was Inquisitors, which is cool because they're aliens and stuff like that. Obi-Wan, which that Obi-Wan figure does sell. Not the exclusive, but the regular.
Yeah, the one.
But even Darth Vader, that's a perennial that should be moving quicker.
That
even
should be moving just because it's Christmas and kids.
Yes, exactly. That's an evergreen figure that it should be. And then I don't know I wish we had sales figures. We don't, because we're just three idiots on the internet.
Yes.
But I would be curious.
Actually, you know what? I have them right here. Yeah.
Okay. like the Black Panther Legacy line. How well is that doing? Did people already have those figures? It seems like most of us that wanted them did get them. So like that's hurting. There was a kind of a dud of an X-Men wave that's still sitting around quite a bit. So I'm seeing those, and already I'm seeing that Disney Plus wave kind of shit the bed as well. And I'm that audience. I should be buying those, but I'm not gonna pay $24.99 other than the She-Hulk. She-Hulk is the one I got because She-Hulk was the one I wanted, but I'm not gonna spend $24.99 on Kate Bishop or that lady from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it's some lady,
Emily, because that's the show I remember her from. Carter.
Yeah,
from Revenge.
Yeah,
from Revenge. Yeah, Emily Thorne. That's what it is. Yeah. Now I need to go buy that figure.
But I'm not going to spend $24.99 on those. I got Moon Knight because a friend of mine bought a case, so I bought it off of him. Cool, whatever. I got Moon Knight and I got She-Hulk.
I mean, right now, from that,
but not for $24.99.
From that first Disney Plus wave, the only three that I consistently see sell are She-Hulk, which is surprising considering the internet deemed that terrible. Moon Knight and Mr. Knight.
Oh no! Yeah,
those and then
three are the sellers.
And then even in the new wave, it seems Howard the Duck and there was one other that was selling well, but most of the others, like even He Who Remains didn't sell well, which is surprising because you think with the trailers of Kang, he'd sell more.
The only thing I can think of from there is it's not Kangy enough.
Yeah.
Yet. So, but yeah, Howard the Duck I get because there hasn't been a Howard the Duck figure in like 20 years because I still have that one. It's like one of the only Toy Biz figures. I love Howard the Duck. So I have it. Not the movie. I mean, whatever. The movie's fine. It's got duck tits. It's cool. But I loved the comic. It's great. I love that comic. What were we talking about?
We're talking about Dorkside Toys going under.
Oh,
and,
right.
And Hasbro killing them.
Yeah. So
that's what this is going to be. Duck Tits is going to be the title of the episode.
I mean, you really think about it. Like, I just don't see right now, at least as far as the action figure market. McFarlane's not really screwing anybody in the sense that like he announces a figure and 3 weeks later it's out. But that's the pattern that he's held the entire time, which makes me then question sometimes the bullshit we get told by Hasbro. Because McFarlane seems to deliver, or he doesn't announce shit until it's sitting in his warehouse.
He doesn't announce it until it sits in his warehouse. Is what it is. Because
and maybe that's probably the way that it should be. Instead of these year-long, or 3 months in some cases. Fuckers,
dude. Like right now, the retro X-Men wave is already starting to ship. The one that they literally just announced like a month ago.
Yeah.
Wait. You can't have it both ways. You can't want it to ship right away and then also.
But no, it's shocking because they tell you it's gonna be like 6 months and then it's literally out next month.
I know.
Consistency is all we're asking.
Yeah, for. Like pick a side, pick a lane.
Because I've got pre-orders that lasted over a year, and then I've got shit that's showing up 2 months. There's something on OnlyFigs. Again, watch the replay. I didn't even know if I really wanted to keep it, but I was like, I got 6 months to decide. Oh no, it's at my doorstep.
I'm excited to see that, but I think one thing, like you guys are all like very, very, very focused on Hasbro for.
Hey, yes, we are.
I did make a second title. The thumbnail's all that matters.
I know.
Yeah,
but do you think things like how insane collecting like action figures and stuff was previous years around the past couple years?
The pandemic.
You mean like specific?
You can call it the pandemic. You just
are we allowed to say that?
So remember during
the Zooagoose.
The Zooagoose. Okay, so during the Zooagoose period, collecting was at like an all-time high. It was insane. And I also kind of wonder if some of these companies we'll start to see more like effects, more that ripple effect because of like, oh shit, this is big. Let's invest. Let's do this. And now we're like, oh, we're like kind of evening back out. And the company's like, oh, well, we already kind of got like really prepared for this to be a long term thing. And that's also kind of what we're seeing about early. That could have been where dude was like, hey, man, I'm saying we don't need to do this. And he's like, nah, man, fuck this dude. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We're riding high. Let's go. And that's where the cocaine came in at. And then, 2022 was more like a cold shower. And they're like, oh, shit. Like, you know what I mean?
But I'll just say this, Jarmar, because I don't disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the one company, though, that makes you pre-order shit a year out?
What are we talking about?
More than anybody else. Well, there is that.
Yeah.
But they tend to do that.
No, Super 7's like 3 years out.
NECA?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hasbro.
Oh,
it's Hasbro.
But they don't, because it never takes a year anymore.
Sometimes it does,
just
though.
recently.
That's the thing again. Consistency is all I'm asking for.
I just wonder if that has some play into it. And that's even Hasbro as well. I mean, all of these companies were obviously affected in one way or another. And also, I think that may be an issue where we're getting to like these peg warmers and stuff like that. And why maybe these online retailers may run into a little bit of issue.
Yeah.
The fallout of that heightened success in the Zumagoose or Zumagos.
Right.
Zumagoose
is fine. However you want to say it. Some people on the Western Hemisphere say Zumagos. You can say Zumageist. It's however you. Yeah.
My family is actually from the Western Hemisphere, so that's why. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, Hasbro, Pitchfork for sure, all day. But I do think that may have a little bit to do with it. And if we mention Hasbro a couple more times, you can officially put it in the title.
Is it like the way Spotify used to be, where if you just said
I forgot about
Spotify
that.
A certain
well, it's because I quit caring about the audio only version of the podcast. You notice I don't even mention it anymore.
Well, let's be honest.
It just gets put up eventually, and then people listen to it.
Well, I did notice in the show notes this week that it wasn't listed. So
I love that I haven't done show notes in a year, and it took you guys until 2 months ago to realize I don't do them anymore.
But it's such a good joke now, at least for me. It makes Jarmar laugh, and honestly, that's what I'm working with here. That's what I'm going for.
I'm the audience.
Yeah. Michael does all the preparation. We show up, and then I try to make Jarmar laugh. That's
the podcast in a nutshell.
Everything in a nutshell.
That's literally it.
I do everything I can to make us as clickable as possible, and then you guys just take it off the rails and make each other laugh. That's literally.
I mean, they click for your thumbnails and questions.
But I do know at least some shit I'm talking about. Not everything. Again, I'm going to be wrong.
Financial advisor.
But for the most part, I kind of know enough to. No, I never got my license.
You didn't have to tell us. We believe you either way.
No, I got to be upfront. I got to be honest.
That's true.
Public record now.
The FDA.
It's out there.
Yeah.
The
it's out
FDA
there.
would come after you.
Yeah. I don't know why the FDA would come after me.
I don't. Yeah.
But if they
The
did, I
FCC?
mean, probably because they're like, the FDA would come after me and be like, why do you still eat at McDonald's? And I'd be like, well, it's delicious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is.
Hey, you go after them.
I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And they're like, well, you are fat. And I'm like, good point. That's fair. But
they intruded your name, by the way. Completely off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even 3 pumps at this point. There's been at least several.
No.
There's been enough pumps in a fucking caramel macchiato here to keep us going for days. I will say Jarmar did come up with the first topic of 2023. Tune into the 6th of January's episode where we're going to discuss, has the collecting bubble popped?
Oh. Does it have to be on January 6th?
The podcast comes out that day either way because it's a Friday. I thought as soon as I was like, that's
Wait, I don't even want to make any jokes. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's okay or not.
No, I was not there last time. Take from that what you will. Also, hey, I just want to quickly point out, I own a She-Hulk figure, so you know I would not have been there.
But you own a bunch of G.I. Joe figures.
I do own a bunch of G.I. Joe figures. This is true. But I own She-Hulk and, like, Rey from Star Wars.
That's
and
fair.
I have Black Panther. I went and saw I See Movies that are directed by Jordan Peele.
I just completely missed the face. But you didn't go see it opening night. So I'm just saying,
I
2 out of the 3.
Opening night. No, I didn't. I went like a couple weeks later. I did go a couple weeks later. But yeah. No, why?
You went and saw it on discount day.
No, I didn't. I did see Black Panther on discount day. I forgot it was discount day. To be honest, it just worked out better for the schedule. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One dude was sleeping so hard that the last, I thought the movie was good, but the last 45 minutes, this dude. Anytime there was a quiet scene, you could hear it. It was way in the back. So I'm glad that dude got to pay $5 to go take a nap.
Get a good nap
during a very loud movie.
He was just happy to his family finally shut the fuck up for 5 minutes for him to.
Right. I think that was it. But
yeah, so
the owner of Dorkside.
Yeah, the owner of Dorkside. he does not collect She-Hulk figures.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, another thing that I forgot to mention earlier was the fact that the kind of confirmation before Dorkside announced it was that Bobby Vala from Valaverse actually put out a video addressing the fact that he got their exclusive figures back.
The show.
Yes, now friend of the show, Bobby Vala. Jarmar doesn't know because he decided to skip that day.
Yeah.
He's a friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's more of an acquaintance to you, though. But he's a friend for us. But essentially, he came out and said, like, we got the exclusive figures back, and we're going to make them a Valaverse.com exclusive, which really was the nail in the coffin, where people are like, okay, they're clearly going out of business. They haven't said anything yet. And then within, I want to say either a few hours or maybe the next day, they had put the banner up on the website.
I want to point out that this year is actually the year I became a Dorkside customer, and I just want to say, I was very happy with everything I ordered when I got into the vintage collection earlier this year, like hardcore. I was buying from them because they were having great deals, and they had figures available that I just couldn't get elsewhere. And I was buying my cases because I got kind of caught up in a particular case because I put them up on my wall. I put them in plastic cases. Okay. Not necessarily because I think they're going to be worth a lot, although, to be honest, some of them are. But the way I was hanging them, I wanted them to be protected, and I just liked the way they looked in the cases. And I got Figure Shield specifically, and they were carrying Figure Shield. And so I was able to buy my figures and get Figure Shield cases from them. I was happy with every single order that I got. And so it was a bummer to me to find out that they were closing because I was really starting to use them for in-stock items. Mm-hmm. I had not pre-ordered anything only because I just like the way Big Bad Toy Store runs their pre-order business. See last week's show for all about that because I do keep most of my pre-orders from them. And I do like, because I like that, and I like the Pile of Loot feature. Not to jerk them off or anything any more than I already do to get my stuff early. It's fine.
You're to get some carpal tunnel at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, they've really been doing a good job. 3 days with my $4 shipping. It's been amazing.
You've been doing a good job is what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Is you've been doing a good job, not them.
Well, I bought those mints, and things have been going really well.
I love that we have inside jokes that no one understands.
Well, no, people understand. That was a part of the that was the live stream. That was how we closed the live stream. Yeah, 100%.
I think that was.
I threw it to him for either his movie suggestion or his fake podcast, and he said,
"Okay,
look at these mints that it's trying to sell me on Facebook."
Okay,
and I sat there speechless because I didn't know how to react.
Now, did you guys? No one who's listening or watching at the moment is going to care about this moment. But did you guys notice the picture that I sent you from the ad? If you click on it, actually had Michael's text at the top of the picture, which made me really laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have no clue, you just have to watch.
Yeah, watch last week's
only because
OnlyFigs.
it is mostly this show without a topic.
Yes.
So,
right.
If you enjoy the unhinged part of these podcasts, you need to either tune into the live stream or watch the recap, because it is nothing but that. We'll show you some toys we bought, and then it just divulges from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, summer. Well, I don't need to get into that. But some weeks are different, and I'm different. And the last couple weeks, I was sick. So we'll just
that's
say
what
that.
it is. This is non-Nate sick energy.
It's all that pent up energy he's had for the past 3 weeks.
Yes. I had that RSV, man. That shit. Well, my wife still has it, and my kid has it now too. Like, it takes forever to get out of your system.
Yeah.
So be careful.
You seem to be doing better now.
I am much better, thank you.
Not that we can say the same for Dorkside Toys.
Yeah,
I'm happy that I didn't. I'm just so happy that I didn't order.
Good.
Oh yeah,
that was such a good pivot.
You didn't know,
Listen,
Nate. You didn't know me. Well, did you know?
I was
a quite good podcaster in my heyday.
Yeah,
good.
I get it.
Before my
really
son
prove at that
came
point.
Made me hang up my microphone.
Yeah. No, you good talk.
No, I
got best words.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, I'm kind of really happy that I didn't order anything because I was kind of tempted on some of the stuff.
Yeah.
That was like just odds and odd things.
Pre-ordering cases.
Yeah.
Honestly, my plan was that I was going to start pre-ordering cases of vintage collection and start stockpiling cases.
That would be bad.
But then I got smart and thought that seems like not a great idea.
Yeah,
right now.
the return on those takes a long time.
Long time. Those other ones that are a lot of money, those were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
like that's like retirement plan. So that. Like
yeah. Like maybe dummy who worked in the finance industry, maybe invest in something a little stronger than Star Wars.
Yeah. Or action figures in general. Like right now there's no action figure line that really like skyrockets except for maybe Mythic Legions.
Yes. And that's not a retail line.
Yeah.
So that's a specialty line.
Well, even
that's completely different.
Mezco, Mafex, none of them have been like really exceptionally exploding.
Well, Mezco would have to release something.
Dude, they took a shit on everyone's chest the past like 4 weeks. Every week there's been a new like 1 to 3 things shipping. They went from having like, what was it?
Not my Batman.
Not your Batman, that's for sure. They went from having 11 things when we did that podcast, or 13 things when they did that podcast, and now they're up to like 19 or 20. Okay. So they've shipped like about 6 or 7 things in the past like couple weeks. Yeah. I mean, it's still not great, but yeah,
you barely kept up the minimal traction there, like the absolute minimal that you could do. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say that. Maybe they're going through a lot. Maybe.
I just wonder. I don't want to leave like a pessimistic note, but I am kind of curious of like,
well, maybe they're just having
the beginning of things. Are we going to see more?
Yeah.
I know this is just completely
tune in on January the 6th.
Oh yeah,
we're going to discuss if the collecting bubble has popped. In the meantime, let us know in the comments below.
They should be under me, right? Aren't they under me?
The what?
Because I'm at the bottom.
You're at the bottom. What are you pointing at?
I'm at the bottom.
Yes, you're at the bottom.
I'm pointing at whatever they should click on.
It's going to be to your left and right.
To my left? So over here?
Your left and right on each side of it.
Oh, yeah, you could have pointed both directions.
You're going to be there for me, because they don't go up to the last 10 seconds of the video, so I have to go through the whole closing spiel, so get comfortable.
Wakanda forever. Isn't that what you do?
Are those number 6s that you're throwing up?
But I mean, just but like this is.
I thought it was
right?
a different. I thought you.
I'm getting I'm getting some Todd vibes. Is all I'm getting.
Am I not allowed to do that? Is that a thing, Jarmar? Am I not allowed to?
No, that's completely fair. That's showing support. Although Everett Ross did not do it at all. So, but I bet Bucky did. Bucky did.
I don't know if Bucky did. He had 1 arm. He's like this, which is a whole different thing.
It's pre-programmed into the one.
Yeah, he had no
what that means.
They say like on it forever, his arm just automatically.
He's like, oh shit.
He's like, uh-oh.
I guess it's better than other one-hand dressers. We should probably end this.
Yes. So let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this whole situation. If you think that Dorkside Toys is a bunch of fucking crooks, if you think it's just a series of unfortunate events due to some poor decisions, or if you have some information that we don't. maybe you're an insider and you've got a bunch of insider information you can drop for us in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Helps us out, gets you a bunch of toy-related content in your feed. We've got the reviews on Mondays, we've got the how to pose videos on Tuesdays, the recap video for the live stream, which may become just the live stream in the future because about 50 of you claim you'd watch us live on YouTube, but we'll have to wait and see. And Fridays, of course, you have the podcast. And then we sometimes will sprinkle in some top 10 videos in the meantime. Next week, we'll be taking the week off. You'll have a top 10 video in its place. But the following week, make sure to tune in for our Festivus special, where we each will go over the top 10 action figures of 2022.
I just got one this week.
I got one of mine, too. What was I saying? Yes, follow us Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Modern Toy Fair. You can check Jarmar. Oh, nobody's on that side now. Jarmar over at metal.tv/Jarmar Games. Nate, please tell me you don't have another ad for a sex toy.
Did I have one?
Wait,
no, I'm saying
toy.
Please don't. I mean, it was sex toy related.
Adjacent. Yeah. Sex enhancer.
It's essentially like there's reasons those are on his Facebook ads, is what I'm getting at.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen, I got another recommendation for you this week. This is a fun one, and you're going to be like, what? And then you're also going to be like, yeah, that's on brand. But Hulu has a new series with Camille Nanjiani called Welcome to Chippendales, which is actually about the dude dancing.
Not the Rescue Rangers.
Right.
Magic Mike.
Which that movie is fantastic if you haven't seen. Magic Mike and Chippendale, either one. Just be careful. Just know which one you're going to show to your grandma. You can show them
especially
both.
With your children.
Just be aware.
Yeah, don't tell her it's the Chipmunks and then show her Magic Mike. That'd be real confusing.
Yeah, Welcome to Chippendales is a pretty interesting show. It's based on a true story. It's kind of fucked up, and it goes in places that you wouldn't think. And I love Camille Nanjiani, just about everything that he's done. So this was a chance for him to be a bit more dramatic and play a real guy, and it was very interesting. So if you are of the type that is scared of seeing dudes' nipples, then maybe that's not for you. But if you're secure enough, it's part of the show. So enjoy.
Cool. Make sure as well, click down below next to Nate. One of the videos, you'll have the video where we discuss, Hasbro's prices being worse than everyone else's. And the other one will be, I guess, last week's episode where we talked about Big Bad Toy Store and canceling our pre-orders. Or you know what? Fuck that. Go watch my my review of the Mafex Harley Quinn.
Wow.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Big Bad Toy Store episode. Doing significantly better than the Harley Quinn review. So click on that one.
Yeah.
In the meantime, hopefully we see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.
Cheers.